Thailand's Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra is set to deliver an address tomorrow as she marks 90 days since her maiden policy speech as leader. Saksith Saiyasombut reviews what her cabinet has achieved in the last 3 months.
Prime Minister Thaksin guilty of an ethics violation and removing him from office.
Thaksin has summoned the leader of all coalition parties to talk about what to do next.
Thai lawmakers have elected Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra, the daughter of the ousted ex-leader Thaksin.
Thailand's second female prime minister took the helm after a whirlwind 72 hours in last August. A decade after her aunt Yingluck Shinawatra was ousted, Paetongtarn takes charge as Thailand's third prime minister from the Shinawatra family. The 38-year-old is a political novice. She's not officially held any political office before, but she carries a not insignificant challenge on her shoulders. She is leading a coalition of frenemies. Paetongtarn's governing Thai party didn't win enough seats in the elections last year. And so it had to form a power-sharing government with its rivals and past opponents of former Prime Minister Thaksin, her father and her party's unofficial patriarch. Unfamiliar and competitive territory for parties associated with Thaksin.
ในสมัยของการเป็นพรรคไทยรักไทยก็ดีพรรคพลังประชาชนก็ดีหรือว่าเพื่อไทยในก่อนหน้านี้ก็ดีนะครับการมีเสียงข้างมากที่เด็ดขาดในสภาเนี่ยทำให้การตัดสินใจการบริหารงานต่างๆในรัฐบาลก็ทำได้โดยง่ายแต่วันนี้พอไม่มีเสียงข้างมากที่เด็ดขาดเราจะเห็นได้ว่าหลายๆนโยบายต้องอาศัยการต่อรองอาศัยการพูดคุย
Her predecessor Thaksin focused on quick wins, policies that would win widespread support, such as reviving tourism arrivals and foreign investment to boost Thailand's slow-growing economy. And these are priorities Paetongtarn has continued in her government. On the to-do list, there's still some unfulfilled campaign promises. There is, for instance, the digital wallet cash handout policy. Sure, some Thais have already gotten their 10,000 baht or almost $300, but the majority of the 50 million eligible Thais, they're still waiting for their money. It is going to cost the government a total of $13 billion in an effort to boost consumption. It's expected to come sometime in 2025, which is a lot later than initially announced. Then there's the issue of household debt, which is weighing heavily on the Thai economy, almost 90% to the GDP. Having said that, there are already some measures on the way, such as the suspension of interest and the delayment of principal payment. So all in all, measures aimed to ease the burden to the people so they're not defaulting on their loans or credits. And then there are also some proposed political reforms, such as proposed amendments to the 2017 constitution. But it has turned out to be more laborious than they have hoped for, and every consensus with the other parties is a hard-fought one. There are some doubts whether or not we will get a new constitution before the next elections sometime in 2027. But Thai politics operates not just in the halls of powers in Bangkok. These are the current battlefields for votes and favors. Normally, the election of a new chair for the provincial administration organization doesn't turn many heads. But here, in northeastern Udon Thani, the Thai party is bringing in the big guns. Thaksin is back on the campaign trail for the first time after returning for 15 years of self-exile. The 75-year-old was hospitalized during a short prison term for corruption. But being back at the front lines of politics appears to have rejuvenated his spirits.
ผมนี่นะเวลามาอยู่กับพี่น้องนี่มันเริ่มหนุ่มขึ้นอ่ะในฐานะเป็นอดีตนายกในฐานะเป็นหนี้บุญคุณพี่น้องประชาชนที่ไม่เคยลืมมา17 ปีก็พร้อมที่จะใช้สมองช่วยประเทศเพื่อให้พี่น้องได้ฟื้นจากความยากลำบากจากที่ผ่านมา
ซึ่งตรงนี้ก็จะทำให้เกิดการเรียกคะแนนนิยมนะครับคือถ้าพูดภาษาง่ายเหมือนกลับไปฉายหนังซ้ำเดิมที่คุณทักษิณเคยประสบความสำเร็จมาก่อนในอดีตแล้วก็เอามาปรับปรุงเป็นภาพยนตร์คอฟเวอร์ในเวอร์ชั่นใหม่นะครับดังนั้นคุณทักษิณก็เลยต้องลงพื้นที่ในครั้งนี้นะครับ
It seemed to have worked. The candidate won the Udon Thani polls in late November, as have almost all Pheu Thai-backed prospects this year so far, with more local elections coming next year. Thaksin is expected to get involved more often, laying the groundwork for the next general election, which has to take place no later than 2027. Thaksin is bullish that this government will stick together until then.
ผมกล้าบอกในฐานะผู้สันทัดกรณีนักการเมืองมานานสังเกตรัฐบาลมานานทั้งล้มลุกคลุกคลานมานานผมยืนยันว่ารัฐบาลนี้อยู่ครบเทอม
Thaksin is seen to be tying his own legacy with his daughter's political success. But critics see his involvement as meddling and warn it could trigger his enemies to move against him and destabilize his daughter's government and take along Thai democracy as collateral damage. For now, the coalition partners are emphasizing the harmony within the cabinet since it was formed about 100 days ago.
Has been rather smooth, and our Prime Minister, she has been working around the clock really, and all the members of the cabinet have been cooperating very closely.
We have got along very well. We have common goals in bringing well-being to our people. So I think we are moving towards success on the promises that we have promised our people.
We put the same question to Prime Minister Paetongtarn. It's almost going to be 100 days that you have taken up office. How are you looking back at this time? How has your experience been so far?
I plan to have the event for telling the people what the government have done for the country. So just wait a little bit. We have the answer for that.
A few months isn't quite long enough to measure success. But in the years since the last elections, the economic challenges the country is facing are not getting any smaller, and neither are the expectations of the Thai people for the government to tackle them as promised. Saksith Saiyasombut, CNA, Bangkok.